Shalom. This week's Sedra is Sedra Re'eh. If you're like me, the mere mention of a test raises your stress levels. You begin to worry about the material on the test, whether you know it, whether you reviewed it sufficiently, and if you'll be able to regurgitate it when the test has started. Tests were a major source of stress for me when I was a student. And even today, 20 years after having taken my last test, a rabbinic ordination test, when I need to take a driving test, I'm overcome with anxiety and stress. It's just a part of who I am. And my aversion to stress is what bothered me so much about a comment of Rashi on a verse in this week's Torah portion. Moshe told the people, "Look only to the site that your God will choose amidst all your tribes as God's habitation, to establish the divine name there. There you are to go, and there you are to bring burnt offerings and other sacrifices, your tithes, your contributions, your offerings, and the firstlings of your herds and flocks. You shall not act as we act now here, where we give wherever we want, each of us as we please, because you have not yet allotted haven to your God that has given you. We haven't built the Beit HaMikdash in Yerushalayim. But when you cross the Jordan and settle in the land that God is allotting to you, and God grants you safety from your enemies around you, and you live in security, that's when the laws really start to apply." In his commentary to this verse, Rashi wrote, "When you come to your allotted plot means that you shall have divided the land among the tribes, and every man knows his portion and the territory of his tribe. After having conquered and divided the land, and having obtained rest from the nations, which the Lord left by which to test Israel, which was only in the days of David." What Rashi is referring to here is that many of the concepts in this week's Torah portion only apply after all the land has been divided among the people. They also act as a test for the Jewish people. The verse Rashi is referring to is found in Judges and Sefer Shoftim, where it says, "These are the nations that God left, so that he might test by them all the Israelites who had not known any of the wars of Canaan. These served as a means of testing Israel to learn whether they would obey the commandments which the Lord has given them upon their fathers through Moshe." The Malbim, a late commentator, explained, the purpose of this was to test Israel with them to see if they obey God's commandments, lest they marry the other nations, and lest they worship their gods. Ramban explained that a test from God can't be a trial to see what man would do if tempted to sin, because God knows what man would do. It's not like a test that a teacher gives. Rather, since a man's deeds are at his absolute free command to perform them or not perform them at his will, the Ramban wrote, on the part of one who is tried, it's called a trial, a test. But on the part of God who tries the person, it's a command that the one being tested should bring the command from potential to actuality, so that he may be rewarded for a good deed and not only for a good thought. God also tries the righteous, and only the righteous, knowing that the righteous will do his will. He desires to make him even more upright, and so he commands him to undertake a test, but he doesn't try the wicked who would not obey anyway. Thus, all the tests in the Torah are for the good of the one who's being tried. The Ramban's explanation of a test helps us understand the test of the command not to leave non-Jews idolaters in the land of Israel after the Jewish people conquer the land. God was providing the Jewish people an opportunity to create a nation solely focused on improving themselves by observing the Torah. If they value the opportunity, they'd rid the land of all idol worshippers. And if they didn't value that opportunity, they'd allow the idol worshippers to stay. What an important lesson about the land of Israel, about trials, about our relationship with God, and the role of mitzvot in our lives. Shabbat Shalom.